Hello, and welcome in to another edition of Tech in 10, the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs post-game show from the Wrestling Daily Leader. I am sports editor Matt Belinson, coming to you after Louisiana Tech's 23-20 loss in overtime to Tulsa at Joy Stadium. Just for reference at the top, just for full context sake, I was at Grambling State's big home game against Jackson State, so I was not in person for this Tulsa loss. I was following along on the live stat feed, and for most of the first half, I was watching on ESPN Plus. But after a while, I had to lock into my Grambling State coverage, and was not able to watch every single down like I normally do. That being said, I think I'm going to spend most of this post game not really getting into the nitty gritty in terms of every single play, every single down, because so many big picture questions I think come out of this game. And I know if Matt, it's only week 3, they're only 1-2 overall. You even said yourself in the preseason that this was one of those toss-up games. Yeah, I did say that. And I did pick Tech to win, just for also further context sake. I know I picked Tech to win this game. That being said, it's just getting to the point in this program where if you expect this offense to get better, I'm not sure. What you're watching, or I guess I'm not sure what you're waiting for. We're now 27 games into the Sonny Cumbie era, and I can't think of a 3-week stretch. Frankly, probably a 3-drive stretch, if we're just being honest, where the offense consistently puts the ball in the end zone, consistently looks competent. And you leave this game tonight with so many questions at quarterback. You bench Jack Turner in the first quarter. You bring in Blake Baker, who then gets hurt. Then Evan Bullock comes on, and then Jack Turner's back in, and then Evan Bullock. I mean, it was just a circus at the quarterback position. I wasn't again there post game, but from what it sounds like, Blake Baker is going to be out for a while. And it sounds like it's going to be kind of up in the air between either Evan Bullock or Jack Turner going forward. Just for reference, Jack, let's see, he finishes his game tonight. Not great. 7 of 14 passing for 41 yards. Blake Baker was 6 of 10 for 107 yards with 1 interception. And then Evan Bullock, 4 of 6 passing for 49 yards and a touchdown. That's not great. 17 of 30 overall for 197 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Tulsa's quarterback, meanwhile, with not a lot of experience under his belt by any means, 24 completions for 228 yards and 1 touchdown. You're not going to blow anyone away with that, but, didn't do anything to cost them the game. I think if you're just watching this offense and expecting anything else, I'm not sure what you're waiting for. Through basically 3 seasons now, the quarterback position has been so unstable for this program that it's hard to kind of figure out really what their identity is, because they've never really had a quarterback in that position that's taken the reins and held them for, forget a full season. I put out a stat in the preseason that, I think since 2019, maybe 2018, but I think 2019 sounds right. This program has not had a starting quarterback start week 1 and then go on to start 8 games for a full season. That's just the reality. I know obviously some of that was before Sonny Cumbie's time, but you just think back to 2022. Matthew Downing starts the opener against Missouri, plays horribly. Parker McNeil then comes in, actually does okay. Had some ups and downs, but through the years, for my money at least, maybe Hank Bachmeier could have some argument there too. But Parker McNeil did a really good job, I thought, leading the offense, really creating explosive plays. It helps obviously having Trey Harris and Smoke Harris on your team at that time, but and then obviously he gets hurt, and then you bring in true freshman Landry Liddy, and some ups and downs there, and then you obviously enter 2023 looking for a new quarterback. Then you bring in Hank Bachmeier. Again, got injured kind of earlier on in the season, and then Jack Turner is vaulted in. Again, inexperienced, kind of wobbly starts, and then Hank comes back, and then Hank transfers to Wake Forest. And then you go into the season saying basically since spring ball, I'm trying to think, I think it was the first spring practice that we had when Sonny Cumbie, he didn't say, in so many words that Jack Turner was a starter. He didn't say Jack Turner is our starter. But when asked about the quarterback position, he started with Jack, and he said that he's the leader of this team. So we pretty much knew reading between the lines that it was Jack Turner's job to lose from the day one of spring practice. And then obviously through fall camp, he took all the reps with the ones. And there was never a sense that there was a competition. Sonny Cumbie and the staff had a lot of confidence in Jack with his leadership style, his ability for guys to rally around him. And now you're benching him. We're not even in October yet. I think that you just have to be honest. Again, I'm not trying to dog on a kid. I'm not trying to dog on coaches and their profession. But at a certain point, you just have to call a spade a spade. The offense through 27 games in this era of Tech football has failed. It has not worked. I mean, to think Tech is averaging 2.4 yards per carry on the ground, so it's not just a quarterback problem. Marquise Crosby is still hurt, so he's not really part of the plan right now offensively. Janario Davenport from Texas State hasn't really given you much. Amari Wiggins coming over from a junior college, he's been fine. You're asking true freshman Fred Robertson to give you some carries. I mean, the run game is also part of the problem. And so again, when I go back to what are you expecting from this offense, here's something I guess you could maybe expect. Don't expect them to score not only on the first drive but early. Here's a fun fact for you: in 27 games under Sonny Cumbie, this offense has scored a touchdown on its opening drive, or maybe just scored on its opening drive. I can't remember which one, but definitely scored on its opening drive 7 times. 7 out of 27. That's not good math. I'm not a math major, but those are definitely not odds that I would want in my favor. So this offense has trouble starting games. Sonny Cumbie even mentioned it himself Tuesday. He said, we have to start games faster. We can't just come out here and wait a couple drives to get going. And that's exactly what they did. Again, it's a similar story to what this program has been over the last couple of years. Here was their first half drive charts. I'm just going to read them off here. Punt, fumble, punt, interception, touchdown, punt, half. And then you come out of the half, punt, turnover on downs, punt, and then some late touchdowns to make it interesting. I mean, again, it's the same story. I mean, again, I think back to that Western Kentucky game, last year. I think back to New Mexico State last year, North Texas. I mean, there's just so many games where Louisiana Tech has trouble starting games, and then we're going to try really hard in the second half, and then I guess we just fall up short. And then they want to talk about one-score losses. I by definition, this was a one-score loss, so I understand that. But, again, for people that were watching it, and from what I can read by the box score and what I saw in the first half, it didn't really feel like a one-score game because the offense just continues to not, I think, put the ball, obviously, clearly in the end zone consistently enough. The explosive passing plays that we saw against NC State, I think it's pretty clear that was an abnormality. In the 3 years that we've had this offense, directed by Sonny Cumbie, explosive passing game, has not, always been there. They've had obviously some really good players, and they've been able to break plays every now and then. But did I think coming out of NC State that, they were going to have the explosiveness that they had in the second quarter for a full game? Certainly not. Again, I know what I've watched over the past couple of years. And so I think if you're this offense, I think I know it sounds cliche, but you just have to go to the drawing board. Whoever is at quarterback at FIU, next weekend, they have to figure out a way to get the passing game going and find a quarterback that can drive the offense forward. And beyond that, they have to find a running back that can hit the ground and move upfield and dominate. I mean, there's just been so many running backs churned throughout this program. And frankly, Tyree Shelton, I think looking back on it now, he was pretty underrated for how much he did for this team. I think they would love to have him back right now, but, he unfortunately out of eligibility for him. So, again, I'm not going to get too big picture. I know I saw a lot of people reacting, obviously on my Twitter feed of, obviously the coaching staff needs to go and, things like that. For me, it's way too early. I understand the frustration. This was a really bad loss, especially when you just look at the math of, you want to make a bowl game. I mean, this is one of your easier kind of give me wins. You obviously haven't even entered conference play yet. You haven't played Jacksonville State. You haven't played Western Kentucky. You haven't played Arkansas. You haven't played Sam Houston, who's looked pretty good. And then obviously you got some toss-up games in there as well. So the math to making a bowl game just got even harder because you lost once again at home to a team that you probably should have beat. So again, I'm not going to get too much, more long-winded. Again, we'll obviously hear from Sonny Cumbie this coming Tuesday at his press conference, and I'm sure we'll hear some answers at the quarterback's position and things like that. But just my overall thoughts is just kind of, I guess, what do you expect? The offense once again doesn't produce consistently, and then when it does, it's too little, too late. Again, Eli Finley had a great night. I talked him up in the preseason as kind of a breakout player. So, if you want to spin this as a silver lining, maybe they recognize that he's a big play threat, and maybe they try and get him involved as a different type of pass catcher. But other than that, I don't really know where the offense goes from here. Again, you're now on year 3, and you have yet to find your quarterback. I know Sonny Cumbie, has talked. Obviously, injuries have definitely played a part, and obviously the coaching staff can't control injuries. It's just a part of the game. But at the same time, even when these guys are on the field, I read off the stats before. Jack Turner was 7 of 14 tonight for less than 70 yards passing. I just can't. That just can't get. That just can't be a thing that you could just continue to roll out there anymore. And I think it is an indictment just on the coaching staff that they are not in a position in year 3, 27 games in. And I think if they were honest, I don't know where the offense has improved. I don't know where the offense has shown, here is where we can take the next step. Here's where we can consistently be good. It has not been the case. And so again, they start conference play next week at FIU, a team that they've split with over the past couple of years. So there's certainly room to obviously start conference play strong. You go on the road and take a win over the Panthers, and you go into your bye week at 2-2, and certainly spirits are higher. But I think as of tonight, I think there's just so many questions about what this offense is, what it isn't, and why the offense is not what it should be. I think those are a lot of questions that coaches and players have to answer for themselves, and we'll just continue to follow along. And so the Bulldogs again, they drop to 1-2 overall and fall to Tulsa 23-20 at Joe IE Stadium. For the Ruston Daily Leader, I am Matt Belinson, saying thank you for listening. Have a good one.